All right, let's dive right in. Welcome back to The Explainer, everyone. Today we're breaking down what has to be one of the most incredibly chaotic, explosive, and just downright unbelievable sequences of events from the Infinitum virtual reality campaign. We are talking about Act 2, Session 26. Now, if you've been following the Holy Crusaders' journey, you know things tend to get a little out of hand, right? But this session? Oh man, this one takes the cake. We're going to map out exactly how a simple intelligence-gathering mission went completely off the rails.
So, the big question we really need to answer today is this. How in the world did a routine server check end in the creation of a starship-sized galactic terror? The sheer absurdity and the incredibly high stakes of what we're about to unpack are just staggering. I mean, the party literally just wanted to see if anything had changed on the sci-fi server since Dracus gained control of Infinitum. That was it, just a quick peek. But as we all know, in Infinitum, a quick peek can escalate into an apocalyptic disaster in no time at all.
Section 1. Trapped in the Brig. So we start with the Holy Crusaders' deeply confusing arrival on the sci-fi server. Remember, Infinitum is this massive multiplayer online game where you can jump between wildly different genres. But when the party stepped through the portal from the main hub, they didn't land at some safe, welcoming terminal. Nope. Instead, they found themselves on a starship, face-to-face with a commander they absolutely did not recognize, Captain Catherine Janeway. And before they could even utter a word to explain themselves, her security team seized them as intruders. They got escorted straight to the brig, with each player locked in their own individual force field cell. And to make things even more complicated, they realized two of their separated members, Valha and Spider-G 2.0, were actually already locked in nearby cells.
Now, what's really fascinating here is the sudden visual shift in their equipment. Because of Infinitum's coding, all of their traditional fantasy gear instantly got a sleek, sci-fi coat of paint. So mechanically, their weapons and armor functioned exactly the same, but visually, a magical broadsword suddenly looked like a glowing plasma blade, and leather armor transformed into a tactical spacesuit. It's a brilliant little environmental detail by the server. But, unfortunately for the party, all that cool new gear was completely useless while they were stuck behind impenetrable force fields.
Section 2. The Death Slod Attack. After hours of trying to bust out of these cells, things suddenly go from boring to disastrous. First, the guild feels this massive explosion absolutely rock the starship. Next thing you know, red alert sirens are just blaring through the decks. A couple of minutes pass and boom, another massive explosion hits. Then, the ship's AI calmly announces that alien intruders have boarded. Talk about a bad time to be locked up, right? To top it all off, a door at the end of the brig's hallway slides open, and this menacing, black-colored alien steps into the room, slowly walking right toward the imprisoned, totally helpless players.
This nightmare creature is known as a Death Slad. Captain Janeway and her security team rushed into the brig from the opposite door and tried to engage the alien, but it was an absolute slaughter. The Death Slad wiped out Janeway's guards in mere seconds. It is a highly lethal, incredibly brutal invader, and it was just tearing through the ship's defenses with terrifying ease.
Seeing her entire team decimated, Janeway makes a desperate call. As a last resort, she rushes over to a computer terminal and completely disables the force fields, finally freeing the Holy Crusaders. But the second she does, the Death Slad strikes and knocks her out cold. What followed was just a chaotic, grueling skirmish. Spider-G 2.0 rushed in to heal the fallen captain, while Barkin, Antonella, Arya, Zato, and Valha threw literally everything they had at the alien. Thanks to Brother Ezekiel diligently casting healing spells from the backline to keep everyone on their feet, they somehow miraculously managed to defeat the Death Slad.
Section 3. The Fusion Bomb Mission. Having saved the captain, the story immediately shifts to a desperate counterattack. Captain Janeway wakes up, gives him a quick thank you, but then drops the bad news. The alien ship is still out there. She's way too exhausted to fight, so she pitches what sounds like a straightforward plan. Step 1. Beam the party along with a massive fusion bomb directly onto the alien vessel. Step 2. Physically drag this incredibly heavy bomb right to the center of the ship. Step 3. Start the countdown timer. And Step 4. Janeway beams everyone back to the Starship Discovery and warps them out of there before the big boom. On paper, hey, it's a clear, logical 4-step extraction plan.
But, as you probably guessed, no plan survives contact with the enemy, and this one goes off the rails instantly.
Those earlier explosions, they had severely damaged the Discovery's teleportation controls, so the beam-in was wildly unstable. Instead of arriving together in a tight, unified formation around the bomb, the Holy Crusaders get beamed in completely separated. The party was now dangerously fragmented, scattered across totally different rooms, deep inside a hostile alien ship.
Antonella, the Dragonborn barbarian, was actually the only one who landed next to the fusion bomb, so she just immediately starts hauling this giant device toward the center of the ship all by herself. But as more death slads started swarming in, the rest of the scattered party had to burst out of their random rooms and desperately draw enemy fire just to distract the aliens. Eventually, Arya the Rogue managed to link up with Antonella to help drag the bomb, and you can really feel the physical toll of this moment in the session. The party is getting worn down incredibly fast, taking heavy alien fire just to move this objective inch by agonizing inch.
Section 4. The Dragon Slad Hybrid. All right, now we hit the major turning point and honestly the wildest twist of this entire explainer. Things were looking incredibly bleak for the players until some very unexpected help arrived. I have to read you this quote straight from the session transcript. A small-sized creature burst from another room, a black dragon/slad hybrid that ran over to a death slad and began eating it. I mean, the shock value here is off the charts. Out of absolutely nowhere, this bizarre hybrid monster bursts onto the scene, and instead of attacking our heroes, it turns right on the death slads and starts devouring them. This unexpected ally suddenly and violently shifted the entire tide of the battle.
Now, with the Death Slads effectively becoming Monster Chow, Antonella and Arya were finally able to move the bomb into position a lot easier. But there was a horrific side effect to this temporary alliance. The party quickly noticed that with every single Death Slab this hybrid swallowed, its physical size increased. It was growing larger and larger right before their very eyes.
So now the clock is ticking, and the situation just escalates into an absolute panic. 2 minutes on the clock. Arya sets the timer. They immediately call Janeway for extraction. But remember, that teleporter is damaged. At a minute 45, Janeway is desperately struggling to lock onto their signatures. At 1 minute 30, Zato finally beams out. 10 seconds later, Ezekiel goes. But then, at the 45-second mark, the massive, fully fed hybrid runs out of death slots to eat. So what does it do? It turns its attention right to the remaining players and attacks. They are now literally fighting for their lives against this giant monster, while a nuclear clock ticks down right next to them. Finally, with exactly 30 seconds left on the bomb, Janeway manages to beam the rest of the team out of there.
Section 5. The Explosive Cliffhammer. Okay, the party is battered, they are exhausted, but they're alive. They completed the mission and escaped the doomed alien ship. Just picture the scene for a second. They're safely back on the Starship Discovery, catching their breath in the medical bay, and they all turn to the main view screen to watch the results of their handiwork. On the monitors, looking inside the alien vessel, they see the giant black dragon/slad hybrid they just left behind, and it walks right up to the armed fusion bomb, which is ticking down its final seconds.
And then, to everyone's utter, absolute surprise, the creature didn't sniff the bomb. It didn't smash it. It ate the bomb. It literally swallowed a ticking nuclear device whole.
30. That is the number of agonizing seconds the party had to stand there in the medical bay, just staring at the view screen, wondering what in the world was going to happen next. Did the monster disarm it by eating it? Was the bomb just a dud now? Were they seriously going to have to go back over there with another bomb?
Finally, the timer hits 0. The bomb explodes with tremendous force, completely destroying the alien vessel. But as the smoke and debris clear from the view screen, we get this terrifying reveal. Emerging from the wreckage is the dragon/slad hybrid. It didn't die. It somehow absorbed all that explosive nuclear energy, and now it's colossal. The bomb-fed monster is visibly larger than the entire Starship Discovery. Before the shockwave can even fully hit them, and right before this newly forged galactic titan can turn its sights on their ship, Captain Janeway reacts. She triggers the Discovery's unique jump system, instantly teleporting the starship several solar systems away to a friendly outpost. I mean, it was the narrowest of escapes, saving them from immediate destruction. Janeway thanks the party, allows them to stay, and lets them use the medical pods to heal up.
But as the players rested up in those medical pods, the devastating consequences of their so-called victory really began to sink in, which leaves us with this massive, lingering question. What sort of monster did they just help create? A quick reconnaissance mission to the sci-fi server accidentally unleashed a bomb-eating, starship-sized hybrid terror into the Infinitum universe. and something tells me we definitely haven't seen the last of it. Thanks so much for joining me for this explainer, guys. Until next time, keep exploring, and hey, maybe think twice before feeding a fusion bomb to a space dragon.